So first, you're going to want to download Nano. Nano is a free project that makes the project file as small as possible. Since we're going to be publishing this to the Android platform, check that Android is supported in the uProject file. Then, since you probably don't want your project name's Nano, rename the uProject file. Then rename the file the project is in. Then open up the version of the engine you're going to use for this project. I'm going to use 5, but it will work with any, and launch your project from the engine. This will successfully rename your project. Now, if you already have a project, you can migrate your project content into this new project by selecting all of your assets and hitting migrate. Some assets may not transfer over, and in that case, you'll need to remake them as I do. Now, there are a number of settings we need to change before we are ready to package a project. Open the settings and edit project settings. First, go to Maps and Modes and ensure you have a map for the game set. Then, go to Packaging and select For Distribution. Also, in Input, there are these touch controls that show up in your game. I haven't needed them yet, so I always just clear this, but I thought it was worth mentioning anyways. Now, go to Supported Platforms and ensure Android is supported. Then go into your target hardware and make sure it's mobile. Now go to Platforms Android. We will need to change a lot here. First, set your package name, which will be com.yourcompany.GameName. Also, you'll need to change this store version value pretty often, as each time you upload your game to the Play console for updates, it will need a different store version. For your application display name, this will be your game's name. Make sure the min and max SDK are 21 through 31. Now, enable the following: package game data inside ABK, disable verify OBB on first start/update, allow large OBB files, and use external files for Unreal game files. All these settings are the required packaging for the Play Store. Be sure to select the orientation as well. Portrait is standing up, landscape is on its side. And if you haven't hit this configure button already, do that now. Now, select generate bundle. This is important because the Play console requires you to upload this bundle as your game. Also, you may want to select support back buffer sampling on OpenGL. Blur and widgets won't work without this. Next, we're going to add 2 tags to the manifest node. These can be found in the description. Now, I'm going to go over some permissions that you may need in your game that I'm going to use for mine. The first is the add ID permission, which lets us use ads in our game. Then, billing, which allows us to make in-app purchases. Next, internet, which lets us access the internet. Then, access network state, which will allow us to check if the user is connected to the internet. And lastly, get accounts, which will allow us to log the player into play games. Again, if you haven't hit this configure button, do it now. Now select enable Google Play support so we can log into Google Play games and allows us to make in-app purchases. And also select include AdMob support for ads if you want ads in your game. Next, you need to sign your app using KeyStore. You can't upload your app without signing it. To do this, open your command prompt, then open File Explorer. Navigate to your NVPack folder, which will be in C by default. Then go into the JDK folder and grab the path for your bin folder. Then use the cd command in your command prompt to move to this directory. Now we will use the following command to generate a keystore file, which can be found in the description. You can change the keystore name and alias. Then fill out the information it wants from you. Once you have finished that, you will find a keystore file in the directory. Take this file and make a copy of it in your config folder. Then add another copy to your build/Android folder. Now fill in the information in the settings, and that's pretty much it for settings. Now you want to create an Android folder in your config folder and make 2 files, AndroidEngine.ini and AndroidGame.ini. Open up AndroidEngine.ini and add the following lines, which can be found in the description. Then open up AndroidGame.ini and add these lines. Save and close both files. Now, back in your project, go to Edit, Plugins. You want to make sure you have the plugins OnlineSubsystem and OnlineSubsystem GooglePlay active. Now, you're going to want to add a free plugin from the marketplace, Android Play Billing. This uses the updated billing cycle and is much easier to work with. Make sure you add the plugin to a plugins folder in your project to prevent any errors when building. Now, we need to make this project a C++ project so that we can configure the source. To do this, select Tools, New C++ class. Name this whatever you want because we'll be removing it shortly. This should open up the source. From here, open your GameName.Target.cs file and make the following changes, which can also be found in the description. Then open your GameName.Build.cs file and make these changes. Save both of those and make sure the solution is development Win64. Close Visual Studio. Then in your source directory, find that C++ class you made earlier and delete both the CPP and .h files. Then regenerate Visual Studio files. Open the new solution and build your project. Once that has finished, open up the editor again and select Platforms. Make sure that you have ASTC and shipping selected under Android, then Package. Now you can open up the Google Play console. Create a new project. Then we need to finish this little getting started module. First, you need to make a privacy policy. I would recommend using Termly's privacy policy generator for this. You need to upload your policy to a site. I use Google Sites because it's free and you can do whatever. Then finish filling out your information to finish this. If you selected ads, you need to go down to app content and fill out the advertising ID form. After you've done all that, you're ready to upload your app. As there's a lot of features I still need to add, I'm going to upload this under internal testing so that I can test it out and make sure it works on my phone. And this is where the first episode is going to end. At this point, your app is configured so that it can be successfully uploaded to the Play console, and you have created a project in the console for it. However, there's still a lot to do, so I'll see you in the next episode.